Hey, I'm Luke from Bread, and you're watching Frontline Gaming News.
Almost
got it wrong.
With Frontline Gaming News, a Rezzed 2015, let's do some dick kicking. Thanks. Off you go. Off you go. The bacon strips, man.
We're at the Indie Chill Out Zone, Subterranean Games stall behind us, as you can see, and we're with the developer of War for the Overworld.
So I'm Josh, I'm a designer on the game, and it's a dungeon management game where essentially you're this sort of evil demigod and you have to carve out an evil dungeon underground, and these goodly heroes will basically come to your dungeon to try and kill you because that's what goodly heroes do. And you kill them all, and then eventually you destroy their home.
Of course, there's a hell of a lot of people who've been looking forward to Dungeon Keeper 3 for amounts of years, untold amounts of years now.
We might be some of those people.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm getting at. Where exactly did the inspiration start from Dungeon Keeper 2, and why has it been so long exactly?
Why it's been so long, I'm not really sure. The team actually initially met on a Dungeon Keeper fan site.
Okay.
Like some of us used to run the site, but we had to distance ourselves when this became a thing.
Sure.
The original project was actually intended to be like a free, like Dungeon Keeper game. So we were going to just call it Dungeon Keeper 3, but that was obviously not allowed. So we did a Kickstarter, and we've been going to Send basically. That was in 2012, late 2012.
Yeah.
Sort of mid 2012, we thought, okay, we're happy with what we're making.
It's picking up.
Yeah, and we did our Kickstarter, and that went really well, really good reception, and yeah.
Although people are obviously relating to Dungeon Keeper, are you still wanting to try kind of push that away in a way and make it your own as it is, or are you happy with being connected to Dungeon Keeper?
We're happy for people to make the connection, because what's the point in hiding it? It's, and we're not so worried about the reception because we've been on early access for almost 2 years now, so people have been able to see it.
The community's been very good as well, because early access is a very touchy sort of subject around with like indie games and stuff, and from what I've seen, because I've had it on early access for at least over a year now, the community seems really, really on your side all the time, and there's not a lot of snapping at like, oh, this is taking too long, or these bugs are still here. And
I mean, actually, the single biggest piece of criticism we had is that it's taking too long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, but if you think about it, that's okay, because no one's complaining about the game.
With the rise of independent games and, well, I guess like independent development, where exactly do you see independent games going to from now?
I don't know. I guess with Kickstarter being a thing, with early access being a thing, it's a lot easier to sort of just like pop up and go,
hey, check out.
Let's make this cool thing. But on the other side, it's also a lot easier to screw that up, because anyone can pop up and literally go, hey, we're making this thing, and
it just falls to pieces.
They get £300,000 on Kickstarter, and then, oh, sorry, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, and then just for like Stamping Ground, for instance. Like, plenty of games.
Not to name names.
Of course, I will though, because we can.
So our stance towards release is our finished single-player campaign. Like, we have skirmish mode, we have survival mode, we have multiplayer, and they're all in good working states. There is a lot we want to add to them, and the thing is, as I said, we've been on early access for almost 2 years, so we're just sort of used to just adding stuff to the game. Yes, in a way, it may seem a little bit unfinished, but it's not like we're abandoning it. We want to keep going. It's just that people had waited so long, and everyone's been waiting for the campaign, so we just wanted to.
It's just been years since Dungeon Keeper, and this is the best thing that's come out since, in my opinion. So, but where can everyone find you guys, or keep in touch with it?
So our website is wftogame.com. We're WFTO Game on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere. We're going to be in retail stores, Game. We're on Amazon as well. I don't know what other stores we are. I'm going to. Sean, what other stores are we in? We're in every shop. Go to your wine shop. Walk through the Overworld.
Find it there. Super CNA even. Thank you for joining us as well, man. Thank you.
Cheers. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. Excellent adventure.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Ride Hard, Bruce Willis. Dobo Cop. He's pretty good. We've got Moonbaker.
I like Self-Raiser.
Oh yeah.
The evil bread.
We've got Bread Dwarf, we've got EastEnders.
Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf. Toastman Pat. Top Bun. Romancing the Scone.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a classic. Hello, we're here at the Bread, or Brez, as they've aptly named it with the hashtag. Just chatting with the guys at Bread. We've got a nice little location here to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah.
We've got some cock puns, so it's all good. We're actually in our element here.
So I'm Luke Williams, game designer at Boston Studios, designer for I Am Bread and Surgeon Simulator, all that magic stuff.
I didn't realise you guys behind Surgeon Simulator. The
Yeah,
most
Surgeon
frustrating
Simulator
game
as
I've
well.
ever played
Oh,
in
the
my life.
frustration continues.
Guys, how did you not realise?
I played that game.
Now that you mention it, it's
makes
quite
sense,
obvious.
right?
Yeah, it does.
I played that game for. Sorry, got off topic. I played that game for about 10 minutes. I got so angry. I couldn't even, for the first bit, taking the ribs off. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So we're here to talk about bread. Anyway. I Am Bread.
So I Am Bread is you playing as a sentient slice of bread whose sole goal in life is to become toast.
Fair enough.
And it'll, by any means necessary.
By any means,
Yeah.
What? So,
like-
how do you mean? How do you mean?
Well,
Go on.
so for me, it was like a compelling idea for like a mechanic or a premise for a game where I can take a slice of bread and I can put it in any environment. I could dump it like out there, and if I said to a player, "Come toast," they'd be able to figure that out, right? They'd be like, "Okay, well, if I can find something that's like if I can heat
Hot.
myself or something,
Yeah,
or turn something on, or cause a situation of events that make something hot or toast me in any way." That's it. You can just put the bread
Just
anywhere.
utter chaos, basically.
Yeah.
Concept. This is where you are. This is where you got to be. Go for it.
Well, it's not even that. We don't even tell you where you got to be. We just dump you in the environment, and you have to kind of
So yeah,
move around next
as
door.
you can see on there, it seems like the guy's like almost like flipping over like sort of the counter, like.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
Oh, here's a piece of bread.
so like you control the corners of the bread, and then you can flop it around any corner. And because I was thinking, how would a bread move if like it was a character, right?
Yeah.
And then how would the player move it? And so then we came up with the corner idea. And,
Do you deliberately just build games that fuck with people?
No,
It seems.
it's not to like deliberately be hard, but it's all well and good if you were like, oh, we're gonna have a game character make a slice of bread, right? I mean, the actual premise of the game, like that idea what I talked about, the compelling, simple idea of become toast, you can put that in any environment.
Sure.
Obviously, then like the bread had a goal, then bread to toast, and so it was always going to be bread. And then like how do you move bread? That's an interesting challenge, right? Because you could just control stick and A to jump, but you've just replaced the character. That's not very interesting. Whereas if you try and think how would a bread move, and then as a player, how would I go about trying to do that? And so we kind of came to the conclusion. We had weird like control stick flopping around stuff, like all sorts. It was all very messy. And that's how we developed these control schemes.
I was going to say, did you ever sit there and think, bloody hell, we've just come out of a board meeting talking for about 2 hours of how we're going to move bread?
It was no board meeting. It was me and a coder and 2 days, and we just dicked about and tried to kind of get us moving around a piece of bread in a way that you can get good at it.
Yeah.
You know?
So where exactly did it? At what point in your life was you sitting at the breakfast table and just sort of went? Where did the idea come from?
Because it would be to me it was entirely interesting premise, I suppose. I'm a big fan of toast, so I always thought bread would become toast if anything. It could be anything, right? But then I thought because bread's quite floppy, and if you could imagine that kind of moving around the world, it'd be quite like a funny thing to see. Like
It's a great
just
idea.
flopping, right? And then that was it. That was the kind of goal, is to just like, is that even possible? Can that be done? And here we are, like, you know.
It's such a great idea. But like when you think about it as well, though, independent games in general. I mean, it's great that we have like places like Rezzed where independent developers can showcase their games. Indie gaming seems to be getting so popular now, like really becoming almost on the same level as a corporation.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
Where do you feel exactly independent gaming can go from? Because you're either going to go from being an independent developer to then something bigger, or is there now just a sense of community within?
I guess so, but I think you can always be like independent no matter how big you get, right? Valve is technically an independent developer. But indie has there's no point going into the terms of like what indie means, because
It's like punk
we'll
rock,
be here
it's
all
like,
goddamn
right,
day,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just a case of it's just now the tools to make games are
So accessible.
so accessible now. Everyone can pretty much learn how to make games. So I mean, on the one hand, you're getting a lot of quality stuff coming out, but then again, like you're trying to make a game, it's quite hard to get noticed. Or, for people to kind of want to play your game. So you got to do some.
So what's next on the cards for I Am Bread?
So I Am Bread, obviously we're in early access on Steam right now. We're coming out of early access this month.
Excellent.
Kind of towards the end of it. Yeah, we wanted to definitely do early access right, get it out and finish it and be like, boom, there's the game.
Yeah.
Complete game, we've got all our modes in there. So he's playing Bagel Racing. Rampage, Baguette Rampage. And the Baguette, you control both points and the Baguette has to swing around and just smash everything.
I love this game already.
And that's
it's
it.
amazing.
That's what the Baguette does.
Where can everyone find you guys or delve into the world of bread?
I Am Bread is on Steam, just search there, it's like $6.99 and I think it's cheaper while it's early access, so
Okay.
you're probably better off picking it up a little bit earlier than you would. But yeah, we've got some cool stuff planned for like the release and stuff, and then we're going to see where we go next, like iOS, like console, stuff like that. We'll see how it goes.
Nice one. Thanks for your time.
Brilliant.
So
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah,
Cheers, Luke.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, mate.
That's great. It sounds really, that's great. We're here at Stainless Steel Games chatting about the new Carmageddon Reincarnation. I'm so excited for this game. We're here with Shane.
So I'm the community manager on Carmageddon Reincarnation, the new driving sensation that's coming out on Steam very shortly.
I played Carmageddon 2 so much when I was younger, and I loved every essence. So when this first came out, when it was first announced, I was so excited. Why did it take so long? Why did it take so long between now Carmageddon 2 and now?
Well, obviously the first Carmageddon came out back in '97, and then shortly after that it was followed up with the Splat Pack and then C2. And then since then we basically lost the license. It went off with a publisher as things happened back in those days.
Won't speak about that though.
No,
no one speaks of that game anymore. No one speaks of that game.
There was a game that came out something. So basically we didn't have a license to move the game, so we went off and did other stuff. Obviously through that the bulk data, the license of the game got passed on between different publishers. They weren't actually going to do anything with it, and then finally it came with Square Enix. We approached them, we had contacts. They said they'd give it us for a price, of course. And so we got our baby back, and then the first thing we had to do was do Carmageddon Reincarnation. That was our project from the start. We wanted to redo it. So basically we thought, right, let's stop everything, we'll get on to Carmageddon Reincarnation, get that going. We did our mobile port.
Are you going to do Carmageddon 2 on the same kind of port, or is that?
Well, we would hope to. We'd like to. I mean, the first one was such a success going onto mobile that it would seem silly not to do a C2 version of it. But unfortunately, everything at the moment is tied to Carmageddon Reincarnation. At the moment, we've got all our sort of team and workload is purely getting this done.
So what exactly happened with the process? Stainless Games had lost the rights to Carmageddon after Carpocalypse. Now, what happened from the beginning of Reincarnation to this day now?
As I say, we got back the name Carmageddon, so we set work on making a new title. That sort of happened around about 2011-ish. From there, we obviously were looking into sort of self-publishing it ourselves. That seems to, that's what everyone's doing at the moment. That's what we wanted to do, self-publish it. So we looked into that. And it was around that same time that Kickstarter was just up and coming. Everyone was using Kickstarter. We thought this is a great platform to use Kickstarter, get all our original people who back the game.
A huge generation of
There's a massive load of people who still follow Carmageddon to this day. They still play it. There's still a heavy modding community for the original game. So we thought we'd garner that, we'd use that to then as a platform to boost our Kickstarter.
It's so good to see the stainless logo back.
It's definitely good to see it back.
Playing Carmageddon 2 and see that logo just brings back so many good ideas. And one thing I always talk about at childhood, and like me and Dean, who've grown up for years, was playing Carmageddon 2 and listening to Iron Maiden. Is music still going to be a massive influence in this game? Or
yes, I mean, the amount of conversations we've had about music in the game. Obviously, because this is a reboot of the original Carmageddon, the one soundtrack that was pivotal to the thing was Fear Factory, Zero Signal. That's what I associate Carmageddon with, and a lot of our fans associate that with. So it was important that we got that back in. And then we had a lot of discussions. We did look at lots of various other bands that we can mix in there. The original had a sort of a mix of electronic music and also the metal, so we wanted to sort of keep that same balance. So what we've done is essentially we had these two sets of guys who just were like hounding us, oh yeah, we really want to. We listened to their game, we played the game with their music running, so I thought, right, this is it, this is great. You know, I mean, I'm not a massive dubstep fan.
There's a big electronic influence, though, isn't there?
I'm more a metalhead, basically. So, like, when it first started listening to it, I was a bit unsure, but then playing the game with it completely makes sense.
With it, with that influence.
It's so good.
You've got Carmageddon Reincarnation. Would there be any point where you'd sit there and go, people are leaning back towards Carpocalypse Now? Do you think we might just do a Carpocalypse Now HD version, or
it could be a possibility, you know, sometime in the future. I mean, we're really hoping that this is a massive success, you know. Whether or not it be a Carmageddon 2 remake, we don't know. I mean, we might. I think for the third title, we might just want to do something new to carry on the series, you know, rather than going back and rehashing. I mean, we've tried to do this going back to the original Karma 1, just to bring it back, you know. The key thing with this was that this was going to be the first true Carmageddon that was going to have online multiplayer, so that was massive, you know. We really wanted to push that.
It's a dead cert,
you know, because with our modding community and everything else, we really want to push the multiplayer, so you can sit there at home and destroy your friends, cheer them on and stuff like this. So yeah, we really do want to sort of push the multiplayer side of it. It would be great if it became the go-to racing game.
We were saying that it's not a racing game, it's just a game that involves cars, basically.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, no one really races on it.
I've never known anyone to complete the lap.
If you complete a lap, there's something wrong with you. There really is something wrong with you.
There's actually an achievement.
You did? Oh, Ben did.
There's actually an achievement in there saying back we'll be disappointed. And that's the guy who created the game, one of the co-founders. So if you race, you get an achievement for that. So we don't encourage it. It's in there.
No.
If you want to do it,
we don't encourage it.
We don't encourage you to actually complete the game of racing.
It's far more fun to go and destroy the cars and heads.
Yeah. When are we expecting to see Carmageddon Reincarnation out for full release?
We're hoping to have an announcement soon about our release date, so it coming out of early access. We'll have more on that soon. We haven't got a specific.
No, of course, yeah.
The announcement will be coming soon.
Where can everyone catch Stainless Games, Carmageddon Reincarnation, all the social networks?
So we've got the website carmageddon.com, or you can go to our Twitter, max_damage. We got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Carmageddon. They're our main avenues really to get a hold of us, and of course we're on Steam.
Yeah, Carmageddon Reincarnation on Steam. Yep, thanks for that very much, though.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers, thank you.
So I'm Lance James with Versus Evil. We're the publisher for these guys and all the other indie titles here. Torn is a great Brazilian adventure game. And we as Versus Evil are super proud to be working with them for a couple of reasons. So first off, they're a Brazilian developer and we're super happy to help the Brazilian video game culture get started and all that good stuff, and help bring Torn to market and basically just help them in any way we can. So we're super happy to be working with them. But second and third, Torn behind us is both beautiful in its own unique art style, which really pulled us in, and third, it's Brazilian mythology, Brazilian folktale, and that Brazilian adventure that really offers a brand new adventure game for.
Sounds original already.
Exactly, that's what it is. It's this original storyline that people outside of Brazil have no idea about, and that's something that's
a great idea.
I mean, how did
definitely,
How did it come about then? Because when you think Brazil, you don't really think of the gaming culture there.
You think of Blanca. It's Street Fighter.
It's actually an interesting story. So our GM, Steve Escalante, went down for the Biggs event, the Brazilian game show, and a few other Brazilian game events. Hooked up with all these great developers and all these great people, and it's really a starting culture down there. There's not a whole lot of Brazilian developers, but there's a lot of really talented teams, really talented people that have come together to help start the culture down there. And Steve was awesome enough to hook up with the Sword Tales team. And that's, Torrent, that's how it started, and that was last year. So
it's really good to get behind a small scene like that and bring it forward. It's nice to give kind of them guys a chance to hit the mainstream as well. I mean,
definitely.
When they started, I can't imagine they'd ever think they'd be in London on a booth talking with guys like us. Really, so.
Definitely, and it's one of those things, right? Like they had, they're super talented, but they are focused on the game, and they never really imagined, what would happen. And we're super happy to be able to do all this for them and help them get here. And it's all them, honestly.
So tell us about the game.
All them.
Tell us about the game and kind of how the game
Concept and inspiration behind it, exactly.
Gotcha. So it is based on Brazilian mythology, Brazilian folktale, and it really follows the story of the main hero here. It's Moonchild, and basically it's, as a player, you're literally trying to figure out who you are, what you're doing, what's happening to the world around you.
Okay.
You very literally grow up with Moonchild, from a baby learning how to walk and interact with the world, to a young adult, to a teenager, to a full-fledged warrior at the end of the game. It's all about, I don't want to ruin any. I don't want to ruin any story, but it's all about just figuring out who you are and the world around you. It's really refreshing to see people who aren't like beholden to our ideas. It's like, why can't we just do this? It's like, okay, why not? So this is a demo build, so you will actually advance a lot faster than you would normally. But the story itself is just, it's very unique. Yeah. So as you're playing throughout the level, you'll see certain things, interact with certain things as a baby.
Yeah.
Then when you get older, you might interact with things differently. Yeah. Because you're stronger or smarter or wiser. Then as you get older, that same thing happens. Like, you might interact with things completely differently because you know something else or because you experienced something. It's very cool.
It's a very good concept.
Yeah.
I like it.
So it's the progression of her aging plus the progression of you kind of learning about the world and you interacting with things differently. It's a
Brilliant concept. So original.
Plus you throw in all the Brazilian stuff and it gets very, it's interesting. Just a good game.
They really helped you connect with the child that you were looking after. And already it feels like you're growing, you're learning, and you really want to be a part of that character.
Yep. So you'll really learn, well, we hope. You really feel like you are Moonchild at some point. You're learning the world with her. Yeah. And it does work out really well.
Because it already seems quite like she's alone, and you kind of you're there with her. You're the only person.
Yep.
It's almost like a history lesson as well. New, like it's like a history lesson.
It can be because it's all new stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right, so we're back here with Lance again, and we're just going to have Dean's playing Armour Krog. We're just going to have a quick chat about it, really. So I've got a bit of feedback. These guys have done Earthworm Jim, wasn't it?
yeah, it's 2/3 of the Earthworm Jim team. It's also the guys who did the Neverhood back in the day.
Yeah.
It's also the guys who worked on Skull Monkeys. So, this is them. This is their history. The stop motion, the clay.
Yeah.
This is their baby. This is their thing.
So what is the game actually about then? I mean, take us through a little bit of it. What's the name first? Is that the...
Yeah, so it's a whole original story, obviously, and it's focused on the two main characters. So it's Tommy Knott, who's the guy, the heroic pose.
Yeah.
He's like
That's a classic Earthworm Jim pose right there as well.
It is, definitely.
Yeah.
But he's definitely the hero, right? He's the guy who wants to be the hero. He wants to be the main focus.
Yeah.
But as you play, you'll figure out maybe he's not as heroic as he wants to be.
Yeah.
But there's also the dog, or we call him the dog, but it's a blind alien sidekick.
Yeah.
It's Beaky. And basically, he's just another character there along with the rides.
Yeah.
And the whole story revolves around Tommy Knott ends up crashing on an alien planet, and he actually gets chased into this building. The building becomes this fortress, and you're trying to get out of the fortress. The name of the overall fortress is called Armour Krog.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's this original storyline, and it's this whole original interaction, point-and-click adventure style, and it's a great adventure. Definitely.
So is it more kind of RPG, like the classic pick things up, use it with other things, or is it more just a kind of telltale game telling the story, you make decisions, or what's the kind of, how does the gameplay actually work out?
So it's definitely much more of a laid-back style of point-and-click adventure. So definitely don't be puzzles, matching games. You have to go hunt for objects. You have to remember puzzles from multiple levels ago, or clues from multiple levels ago. Or you might see a clue that's only available, you have no idea what it means. It might not ever come into play, or it might come into play multiple times. It's tons of that style of gameplay.
Oh, good. I mean, Dean's playing it here, and first thing he said was the dog's voice was brilliant. And we said that
hilarious.
the voice actors, it's one of the guys from Poland Dynamite himself, isn't it? I've got his name now.
So both voice actors and several more are actually all very amazing. So Tommy Knott is Michael J. Nelson from Mystery Science Theater.
Okay.
Beak is Rob Paulson from Pinky and the Brain. There's a few more very cool guys that help work on the game as well, but I don't want to spoil anything.
That's fine. No, it's when's the game actually due out release? Is it still in testing? Or?
So the guys, the pencil test guys, the guys making the game, Mike and Ed, are both working very hard. So we're looking, I say very hard because you can only imagine stop motion gameplay is some of the most tedious amounts of work ever.
Yeah.
I've been working very hard. We're looking at hopefully a summer release for PC, Steam, with Wii U and other stuff coming in the future.
Wii U coming in?
Yep, there will be
That'll
Wii
an
U.
concept here.
Definitely.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for your time again, Lance. And,
Cool.
we enjoyed the game. Thank
Awesome,
you.
thank you. Appreciate
Nice
it.
Cheers, mate.
Someone at least tell me I've picked something up off the floor. I can't open the door. Please help. Please. What am I doing wrong?
Struggling with life. Yeah.
There you go. It's like that bit on Monkey Island again when you're
Oh
on the water.
yeah. For
you go.
years that Monkey Island bit got me. Do you know when he's got the statue tied to his leg and he's into the water? I remember us going to school and we were just like, I can't
You
get
had
out of
no
the
idea
water.
what
I keep
to do.
drowning. I keep drowning. And then by mistake I clicked it and he just picked it up and walked out. And I was like, ready
That's
to
simple.
flip my Windows 95 PC up in the air.
Oh yeah.